Combining a team of reporters, columnists, and commentators.
Don't you ever talk about me!
Are you serious?
Jack Ebling has brought thought-provoking discussion.
What are you doing? That's a damn coaching mistake.
Opinion.
The customer is the one who decides when the future gets here.
Oh, no!
The ship is on fire!
You have to check the report.
Are you kidding me?
That game was fixed.
And overall infotainment.
I'll take Jim Harbaugh.
What has he done?
Crazy cootie coming at you.
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Thanks, big fella.
Don't you ever come back here again.
No arguments. Those are called ass tunes.
So buckle up.
You talking to me?
It's time for The Drive with Jack Ebling.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Great afternoon, Greater Lansing and beyond, and welcome to The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling along with my producer, Boston Rob, in studio today at 105 West Allegan, our beautiful Spotlight Studios here, and we have a big show planned for you, starting with Tony Garcia of the Detroit Free Press, covers the Big Ten champion. I guess we can say that. Even if they were to lose the last 3 games, they'd still be Big Ten champions. Not going to happen. Don't drive off the road, Michigan fans. Just telling you. Oh, Tony, I understand that you are not in the state of Michigan as we speak. You celebrating Mardi Gras or starting looking for future Final Four sites? What are you doing in New Orleans?
No, I'm not. I wish I was doing either of those things. This was a pre-season planned trip. My father retired, and it's my twin sister's birthday and I today, and so we were just headed down for a family trip to New Orleans, a little calm before the storm, and it was before the schedule came out, and I was telling myself, I was like, as long as they're not playing for the Big Ten title that weekend, I should be safe.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, here we are. It's not that I didn't think they'd be in it, in the race, but, oftentimes it comes down to March, one of the final couple of games. I do think Illinois did me a bit of a favor by losing to UCLA.
Yeah.
Because then at least Michigan has already claimed a share, so I was there for that. Had they not, this game would have swung the whole thing. And so I was there, but didn't have plans to go to Iowa anyways, because we'll be going to, I think it'll be Chicago, Buffalo, Chicago, Indy, so there's a lot of travel coming up.
Yeah.
But if they aren't able to pull it out tomorrow, I have some plans to go to Iowa next week.
So you will not be in Champaign then Friday night, tomorrow night?
I won't.
Okay.
I won't. The one Big Ten trip I'm missing, and actually Penn State. Penn State as well. But other than that,
that's the game of the year,
right?
All Michigan at Illinois. Would you say that's the best game on the Big Ten schedule?
Yeah, it's up there. I think Michigan-Purdue was really good. I think Michigan State was really good. Mm-hmm. I think even at the time, Michigan-Nebraska was really good. Michigan-Illinois is right on par with them. Michigan's the best team, and then you got the other 3-4 teams that are all vying for those other double buys. So a lot of great teams. This one, and it's one of my favorite environments, certainly as a reporter, because there's few arenas in the Big Ten that still let you sit courtside, and you got the Orange Crush directly behind you. It's just an electric environment. But I was Michigan Duke, Michigan Purdue, right? Michigan State. They've played a number of these top 10 games, and so you win some, you lose some.
What was your first time in Champaign for basketball? Do you remember what year that was?
I think it was 2023.
Oh, okay.
I think it was 22-23. When Michigan lost in, I believe it was double overtime, and then I headed straight down to Bloomington, and then they lost to Indiana in overtime.
Ooh.
And they had 3 overtimes in 2 games, and they just couldn't pull out either one. And then they lost to Rutgers in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, and that was the first of the 2 years in a row where they missed the tournament.
That wasn't an overtime,
right?
That was not an overtime game. Losing to Rutgers.
Which?
The game.
Rutgers was not. No.
Well, if Michigan can get Illinois into overtime tomorrow night, it's in good position because the Illini's last 3 losses have been at Michigan State in overtime, to Wisconsin in overtime, and at UCLA in overtime. And this league is so strange, Tony. I mean, that the UCLA Illinois game, I didn't think that I would see a weirder one than that when the Illini raced to a 33-10 lead, up 23, and lost the second largest lead ever overcome in Big Ten basketball. And then last night, I'm one of those weirdos who watches games really late, and I was watching Wisconsin-Oregon. And at the half, I said, okay, well, Oregon stayed within 3, kind of cute, kind of like a team play in Michigan where they were, just hanging around, but they were on fumes in the second half. And instead, Oregon came out and could not miss in the last 20 minutes, scored 55 points. Wisconsin launched a school record 45 threes. And despite John Blackwell playing great, that was it. And the Badgers lose in Eugene.
Yeah, I think they did Michigan State a favor,
yeah,
right?
Because
Michigan State is trying to get that double bye.
Right.
I mean, I guess they did all the teams, but Wisconsin has the head-to-head against MSU.
Right.
I guess is really my thought there. And so for the tiebreakers for Big Ten.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why, as they say, that's why they play the games. I mean, Michigan State losing to Minnesota. Michigan losing to Wisconsin, right? Illinois losing to Wisconsin, Michigan State losing to Wisconsin, and then Ohio State and Oregon beating Wisconsin, right? I mean, they are, of all the conundrum teams in the Big Ten, I think Wisconsin takes the cake. And I don't think it's close.
Yeah, and I was watching the second half, and I kept saying, like, where was the Wisconsin team I saw in Madison? Where was the one that came to Ann Arbor? It was like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Totally different. But that's Big Ten basketball for you. So with this schedule now, Tuesday, Friday, I'm sure that Dusty May wants to win this game, but he doesn't absolutely have to win this game. And then you've got a little bit more time. You got next week and then on to Chicago. How much emphasis do you think Michigan will put on the Big Ten tournament? Obviously, it wants to win it. But how important is it in the grand scheme since the Big Ten regular season means a lot more?
I think different people subscribe to it in different levels as we know. Right. And everything I've gathered from Dusty and Cuppy, I mean, they certainly put an emphasis on it. They do think Dusty a lot because he says in his mind, I mean, it simulates tournament play, like just that quick turnaround, and with everybody in it all at once, and because of because of the size of this league, the schedules are somewhat different depending who you get away, who you get home, who you get twice. He feels like everybody in one barn in one weekend and one team coming out on top really means something. And also, if you win the Big Ten regular season, of course you can. I mean, it's kind of like a win-win, right? Or like it's a no-lose situation. That's if you do lose, great, you get some rest. Yeah. And if you win, to win the regular season and the Big Ten tournament, I don't know how many times that's been done. I mean, not a lot.
Yeah, not the majority of the time. I think less than half the time. But Michigan's depth might be a consideration here too, because a lot of times, Tony, I've seen teams when they win the regular season, they say, well, if we win the tournament, we win the tournament, but we're not going to kill ourselves to do it. We're not going to play players who are less than 100%. We're not going to play guys extended minutes more than they should to try to win this, knowing that they could be back on the road heading out 2 days later on Tuesday for a Thursday game. So I'm wondering if Michigan might subscribe to the theory that a number of schools have, Michigan State not one of them. Tom Izzo wants to win every banner he can. But I've heard coaches say, you know what, I'd almost rather be done on Saturday. They don't want to lose on Friday.
Yeah.
Where do you think Michigan is there?
I think they want to win it. And certainly if you get to Sunday, but if you're going to lose Saturday, I think most people know Saturday's the day to lose, right? If you lose Friday, you lose a lot of mojo. Right. If you lose Sunday, you still had to play all the games.
That's right.
And it's like, well, we were here, we might as well have won it. If you get in Friday, get a win, get under your belt, Saturday, you play a tight one. Maybe you don't hit some shots. Maybe you're not playing any of your starters more than 25 minutes per what you said. You're just trying to rest the legs a little bit, and you lose you get a rematch with Illinois and say you knock them off tomorrow and you lose in the semifinal. I mean, happens. So no harm, no foul there. But worst case scenario is probably losing Friday. Second worst is losing Sunday. And then Saturday is the second best scenario, and winning it all is the best scenario.
So I'm looking at the ESPN matchup predictor, and maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't. It's based on the computer simulations. Has Illinois winning 51.5% of these games tomorrow night, Michigan 48.5%. If that holds, and again, this is a lot of ifs, but if that holds, and if Michigan State, playing for a lot, comes in and wins in Chrysler, and we've seen Michigan win in Breslin before, and Michigan State certainly has won in Chrysler. If that happens, and Michigan has 3 of its 4 losses at that point in the final 6 games of the year, would that be any kind of a concern, or is that just scheduling abnormalities?
I think there would be some concern there for sure. I mean, you're 25-1 to go from 25-1 to 28-4, a 3-3 stretch just didn't feel like that would happen at any point this year. And I could definitely see a loss tomorrow night to Illinois. And could they lose to Michigan State? Yes, but that one would surprise me more.
Yeah,
just senior day at home. I think they match up. I think they match up pretty well with MSU. I think one thing Dusty does really well is learn about teams and learn how to adapt. Of course, Tom Izzo does as well. But I really think it's a strength of this staff. Ohio State this year is the example. That was a 50-50 game in Chrysler. And then with 8 minutes left, they did end up winning by 12, but it was a tight game pretty much the whole way. Even though they only beat Ohio State by 22 in Columbus. If they had played, they played a C game and they won on the road by 22 points. If they had played well at all, that would have been 35. I mean, they just wiped the floor with them. Technically speaking, just with their sets, what they were allowing Ohio State to get, what they weren't. And so I think at home, senior day, there's a reason, even though you've already locked up the Big Ten. I mean, if it's like a sleepy Iowa game or an Indiana game or someone who you don't really hate, that could be a little trappy. But Michigan State, they're not going to be trapped by MSU coming in to end the season. So, but to answer your greater question, 3-3 would be no. I mean, of course, you'd be wondering. I mean, did Michigan peak too early? Right? What's going on? Teams figured them out. You always want to be playing your best ball going into March, and a 3-3 stretch after 25-1 would be definitely concerning.
When we talked last week, we were talking about the lead-up to the Michigan-Duke game in D.C. What's your takeaway from that game? What did we learn?
We learned that Michigan can be beaten by teams with equal talent, and they don't have to shoot the lights out. Michigan is a fantastic team. I still think, for my money, they're the best team in the country. But there are some other teams that are going to have a say in that, and I think the Elite Eight on is going to be, and Sweet 16 as well. I mean, round of 32 will probably be close at half or something like that. But those second 2 weekends are not going to just be cakewalks. Maybe one of them will be, when just the shots are falling, and we all know how the tournament runs can go. But Michigan didn't play well, and they know that. But as Dusty said afterwards, the enemy has a say, right? Yeah. Duke played a major role in Michigan not playing well. Just getting hammered on the boards, 41-28. After the past, it was they hadn't lost a rebounding margin at all since Penn State in early January. They hadn't been out-rebounded, and then to get out-rebounded by 13 points, to lose in the paint by 10 points. And just not capitalizing, right? They forced more turnovers, and they only turned it over 7 times, and Duke got, I think, 11 or 12 points off of it, and Duke turned it over 9 times, and Michigan only got 7 points off of it. And so there might have been 11 turnovers and 9 points off of it. But regardless, they didn't play well. They didn't capitalize. And it was a 1-point game in the final 4 minutes, and Michigan all year has felt like, we can just close out these games.
Right.
And it's not a 100% thing. So Michigan is vulnerable. I mean, that's the way college basketball goes. That's what makes March so stressful for the fans, right? Is that no matter how good you are on any given day, that can happen. And so, but I do think it was a great learning experience for Michigan to be in that environment. It really did feel like an Elite Eight, Final Four type of game, just without the stress of knowing your season's over. And so, I mean, I guess you could say, like, how can that really feel like it? But just big arena, 50-50, fans going crazy, the runs really mattering, high-level ball. So it was totally a worthwhile experience in my estimation.
So when Michigan came to Breslin Center and the teams had the same number of rebounds and I believe the same number of assists, it might have been one different, but the same number of rebounds. Is this the first time, the Duke game, where Michigan has been out-rebounded?
No, Penn State. They were out-rebounded at Penn State.
Wow.
And there might be one more. I didn't go out past that, and I can't recall. But I don't know which game. Like maybe like TCU, they might have been out-rebounded, if I recall. But I don't think so. But yeah, in their 11-game win streak between Wisconsin and Duke losses, MSU held them even 36 each. Yeah. But the way I've been characterizing that, I mean, if you tell an opponent that you're going to be even on the boards with Michigan State, I mean, you sign up for that 8 days a week, right?
You're going to win the game.
That is neutralizing one of perhaps Michigan State's greatest strengths.
Right.
So even when they tied, it was still a win in their mind, and the other 10 were all wins. Many lopsided rebounding advantages.
We saw 2 exceptional performances by forwards there. Yax was very good, Yaxel Lindeborg, and Cameron Boozer was maybe better. Certainly his passing was incredible for a freshman. Did he look to you like a possible 1-1 pick? We know that the people who want to take on the Darren Peterson experience are excited about that. There's A.J. DeBonsis. I've heard some other names. I even heard someone say that if he had a choice, he would take Keaton Wagler because of the growth potential. He hasn't played a lot of basketball. You got a 6'6.5" guard, all those things. But did Boozer to you look like a can't-miss pro?
He did. I mean, and you could do worse than taking him at 1-1. I just think sometimes when you are going 1-1, you go like that freakish upside. And I'm no NBA evaluator. And I just wonder if because Boozer, I mean, he's way more polished as, I mean, not just his footwork, which I knew was good, but his passing ability. That really, really impressed me. But just for a big who, and I mean, he can shoot it well, but he's not some freakish athlete. And you do think he'll be in the post a good amount. He's only 6'9" and plays below the rim. I mean, these are just like a few of the questions. So I'd be thrilled if for whatever, like for my team to draft a Cameron Boozer. But I think Dabasa is going to go 1-1. And it would be Peterson. I think it would almost certainly be Peterson if everything that hasn't been happening, all the holdouts and the injuries and this and that. Hadn't been happening. I think it would be Peterson, DeBasa, Boozer, and I still think those 3 go top 3. And Wagler probably goes maybe 4 or 5 as well. I mean, I like all the names you said.
Do you like Boozer better than Paulo Banchero, who was a Duke guy and quickly went 1-1?
It's hard to compare, right? Because Banchero is like a guy with the ball in his hand, you know? Like, he's an oversized guard, whereas Boozer's almost an undersized big. I hadn't thought about that, and I'd probably need to think about it like more in depth to really form an opinion. I mean, I like them both a lot, and but I guess I was a little worried about Banchero's shot because so much of it was just overwhelming people and getting into the lane and getting into his spots. And I was like, I don't know if you can just perfectly make a living doing that at the NBA level. Not that I didn't think he was going to be a really, really good pro, but I don't know if he'd become a superstar, and I think he's still working his way there. So, I mean, I like both prospects for sort of inverted reasons.
I want to talk about one other player from the Duke game, and we spent some time last week talking about Elliot Cadeau. I know you had a piece that was read and dissected in the Free Press about him. I'm sure you got some blowback on that. But he did not have his best game against Duke, and then he came back, and against Minnesota, he was terrific. And I'm going to hold to my statement, Tony, that Elliot Cadeau is not Michigan's best player, but he is his most important player, acknowledging the fact that L.J. Kayson has improved a lot, and he can go in there and do a lot of things. But I think that when Cadeau is on, Michigan is, if not unbeatable, the best team in the country.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I remember last week, obviously, we had a good discussion about that. And it was funny. I mean, I was amazed the amount of blowback I got because I wasn't, and I mean, I think the story didn't do this at any point. Like, I was not saying that Elliot Cadeau is Jeremy Fears or is Braden Smith or I want him at this level.
Right.
But what I'm saying is it's funny for a guy who sort of outdueled Fears, who had a fantastic game against Michigan, to make the bigger plays in the clutch, and to be better than Braden Smith from tip to buzzer in West Lafayette, both of those games on the road. It was just surprising. And then there's so many other guys. I mean, Wagler, Bennett Sturtz, Nick Boyd, right? Like, there's a ton of Mobley, when he's been healthy, has been good. There's been a lot of good point guards in this league
Bruce
that are getting attention. And I just felt like Cadeau was flying sort of under the radar. And so I was like, it's time to acknowledge that Cadeau is having a really good season.
Yeah, I would
and it's
agree
funny,
with
that story published the day on last Friday after you and I were talking on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I was like, I actually think it's Morez Johnson. You know what I mean? And I was like, I like Cadeau's game, but I mean, I think Morez is really that X factor, that one that Michigan, like, I totally get your point. I just lean more Morez in that one specific thing you gotta have.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying with Cadeau. I was just I'm just glad you brought it up because I was actually, I mean, I'm used to, like, everybody's used to blowback in different ways, and it's the world we live in Twitter and whatnot, and I welcome it all. I was just surprised that one. I didn't think it was controversial, but everybody has their opinion.
All right, last thing for you, Tony. Michigan State at Mackey Arena, it's personal house of horrors. We know hasn't won there since 2014, not just losing 8 straight to the Boilers, but also blowing one of the larger leads in its tournament history to UCLA the year that the Bruins rallied, beat Michigan State in overtime, was down 5 in the last minute and won that game, and then beat Michigan, and then almost made it to the national championship game. Took some crazy things for them not to. Suggs with that long shot. But I'm thinking that Michigan State has maybe as good a chance as it's had in a while to win in Mackey. And for some reason, I could be dead wrong, Purdue could win this thing by 26 points. But I'm thinking that this is not the best Purdue team I have seen. I think if you have Braden Smith on a bad night, or you can make him have a bad night, Purdue is beatable. And for the Boilers to lose by nearly 30 to Iowa State, get dominated by Michigan, that was not a close game, to lose to Illinois there, is there something changing with Mackey Magic?
Maybe with the magic, yes, but with the environment, no. I mean, that place, I mean, it was when we were there, I guess it was just last week. It feels longer than that ago. I mean, the phrase I've been using to people, I mean, that place was a tuning fork. I mean, you could feel it. You could feel the vibration in the air, not like theoretically, like physically. It was like I could not hear the media members sitting to my left and right. I mean, we're all but screaming at each other. And what a lot of those teams did was they took them out of it early. I mean, Iowa State led big early. Michigan led by 20 in the first half. And then even when, Purdue would cut it to 13, and that place started buzzing again.
Yeah.
And so I agree with what you're saying about this not being the best Purdue team.
Yeah.
Even though they have so many of their stars who've been so good for so long and are older and more experienced and have gone through this.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't pick Michigan State to win that game there tonight. Not with the way they play. Like, I saw a good portion while I was waiting for my flight out of Duke of that Michigan-Ohio State game. Or Michigan State-Ohio State game. That was yikes.
Yeah.
And
Ugly.
they just did not look good at all. And if it was in Breslin, I probably would pick them to win it.
Yeah.
But in Mackey,
not in West Lafayette. No.
I think they're going to need. I think Kohler's going to need to get back to the 2025, like not last year, but the first half of this year, Kohler that you were seeing. They're going to need someone beyond Jeremy Fears. I know Cohen Carr has been playing better lately. And they got to have more shooting. You got to, like, Michigan. That's one way Michigan stretched Purdue out.
Right,
they were 7-14 shooting when they got, and 7 different guys hit a 3 when they built a 20-point lead. Right, Purdue's trying to turn this valve off, and then this one opens. They were playing whack-a-mole with Michigan, and I think you just kind of keep the mallet over Jeremy Fears' head, and you keep smashing that mole, and you just make anybody else beat you.
So you saw Braden Smith look very human. You've seen Jeremy Fears at outstanding, good, and mediocre. What do you make of that matchup tonight?
It's a fascinating one. It is 2 of the 3 best point guards in this league. The other one will be playing against Michigan tomorrow night. And it's funny, Braden Smith, that was the most bottled up I've seen him in some time, and he finished with 20 and 5, right?
Yeah.
He didn't score in the first half, and then he puts up 20 in the second half.
Yeah.
Now, it was an inconsequential 20, but it would have been a lot louder had they been able to string a couple stops together.
Right.
I like the matchup for Fears because I think when he gets got, so to speak, it's just because he's not a big physical specimen,
right?
And it's someone who's got a little length, got a little size, and can sort of handle what he throws at them.
Right.
He's bigger than Braden Smith, and Braden Smith's got all the tools in the toolkit. He can hit it those baseline, like 14-foot fadeaway floaters. He loves it at the elbow. He shoots at 42% from long range. He can knife you to the rim. So he can make all the shots, but I think there's enough rim protection for Michigan State. And Jeremy Fears really likes to show up for these games, right? This type of mano-a-mano specifically. That's what I gather from watching him. So I like the matchup for Fears. I think he might outplay Smith, but I think Purdue probably finds a way. If Michigan State can keep it close late, that's really all they could ask for. You want to be inside a bucket with 4 minutes left and have a shot.
Yeah, I think that point guard matchup obviously is going to get all the eyeballs, and Kohler and Kaufman-Wren, very interesting. But I think maybe Clough and Cooper might determine this game. It might be something, and who knows what Fletcher Lawyer you're going to get. Tony, thanks so much for joining us. Let you get back to Bourbon Street. And we will see you a week from Sunday.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jack. See you then.
Tony Garcia of the Detroit Free Press. And, Rob, I think people don't understand what it is like covering a top-ranked team or a top team through a Big Ten basketball season that is pretty long. And,
we say it all the time in all the sports and certain sports, but the grind.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes you're going 7 days a week, and that's just the way it goes.
Yes.
You make up the time in the summer.
Yep.
All right. We will be back in just a minute. We're going to stay on Big Ten basketball, and we're going to talk with Rod Barmack from the Final Four is not on the schedule. Talking Michigan State and much, much more coming up on The Drive with Jack.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Some great product here in early 2026.
You got it, Jack. Here at Chevy, we have, backed by popular demand, the all-new Bolt, redesigned and back in full force for us. People are really excited about that vehicle. It did great for us in the past.
Great.
And then next door, the Nissan Sentra, completely redesigned for that model. Great fuel economy. It's going to be a hot seller for us.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEANjobs.com.
Amy here from One North Kitchen and Bar. Tuesdays are family fun night at One North. Kids under 12 eat free with the purchase of an adult entree. Bring the whole crew to One North in Lansing, Jackson, or now East Lansing. Good food, happy kids, and an easy win for the family every Tuesday.
Are you passionate about college sports? Foster Swift Sports Talk is your go-to podcast dedicated to addressing the hottest topics in college athletics, including recruiting practices, NIL, the trade portal, collectives, and revenue generation.
Join us as we bring you insights from student athletes, college head coaches, administrators, and other industry leaders as they share their experiences in this rapidly changing arena.
Our mission is to share information and help educate student athletes, parents, coaches, and other stakeholders with the knowledge, resources, and strategies they need to make informed decisions and maximize each college athlete's potential for long-term success. Check out our latest episode where we're joined by Alan True from 24/7 Sports to discuss Midwest recruiting. Like and subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook pages to watch all of our episodes, or you can give us a listen on any of your favorite podcasting platforms by simply searching Foster Swift Sports Talk. Until next time, I'm your host, Dave Russell.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob, in studio today. And Rob, that means what? People can follow along. There's a chat room. They can see us if they're really
right on YouTube. It's free. Right? You can make sure to hit that subscribe button. And like I said, it's free to subscribe, and you can look at our ugly mugs for 2 hours. But I know it's talking about great sports, especially with our next guest.
That's right. Someone who knows all about the subscribe button.
Yes.
Has done great work with the Final Four, is not on the schedule. He is Rod Barmack, who does that show before and after Michigan State games with his partner Eric Larson. We have Michigan State back in its House of Horrors, Mackey Arena tonight. Big picture, Rod, what do you see?
For tonight, a tough one. I mean, the records have been making the rounds on social media just to remind anybody who didn't realize just how rough it's been. I think Michigan State overall against Purdue is 2-8 in their last 10. They're 5-12 in their last 17. They haven't won at Mackey since 2016.
Right. One game winning streak, but that was at Breslin, right?
Right. Now, a lot of those games, if you look back, a lot of them have been very competitive. Michigan State, a lot of losses. But not many of those at Mackey.
Yeah.
Those are 10. I mean, the one I always point to, if you really need an illustration of what Mackey has meant to Purdue over the years. You go back to the 2020 season, where they were actually pretty bad by Purdue standards. They were not going to be a tournament team that year if one had been held.
Right.
And Michigan State, of course, won a share of the Big Ten, was considered to have as good a shot as anyone before the tournament got canceled to win the whole deal.
Right.
And MSU got beat by 29 on that floor. Yeah. So it just tells you what Mackey's been like over the years. So I would say this, though. If you were a Purdue fan, I don't think you've been too enamored of the way your team's played, basically since early December.
Right.
They've already taken 3 losses at Mackey, which by the standards of any good Purdue team is a ton.
Right.
And so, you know, I think Michigan State needs to play extremely well, and they probably need Purdue to not have a breakout game. So I give them a shot, but it's a small one because we know the reality of the track record.
Which one player for Michigan State, and it can be the star, it can be a support player, or it could be a surprise player, has to play well, and you could see us talking about him, and you will be talking about him tonight on Final Four is not on the schedule. I will be talking about that player, whoever it is, with Tom Crawford on our post-game podcast right after the game. Who is that player?
Well, the easy answer is Jeremy Fears because he's the Reggie Jackson-esque straw that stirs the drink, right? Yep. But I'm going to go with Jackson Kohler.
Okay.
I think it's been a while since Jackson's had just a true knockout game. And he has done this before. If you go back to last year, he was a huge key in the win at Illinois. Similar circumstances, good team, building that has not been kind to Michigan State over the years.
Right.
And Jackson was huge from 3 in that game. I also think that Purdue's defense in general has some real question marks, but I think particularly they've shown some vulnerability to big men that can shoot. If you go back to that loss they had against UCLA at Pauley, down the stretch, Tyler Bilodeau just killed them, and they weren't guarding it.
Yeah. Wisconsin killed them, too, and they have
there you go. There's another example. So I'm going to say, and obviously Jackson's got to do his usual thing on the board.
Right.
That goes without saying, but I think he'd be the guy I would pick.
Yeah, my question about that is it's important that Jackson stay out of foul trouble. Tom Izzo has brought it up ad nauseum about getting the 3rd foul late in the first half against Ohio State. And when you're going against Trey Kaufman-Renn, that is a tougher assignment than anyone you would face with the Buckeyes at the 4 position. So I think if Kohler can stay in the game, if not, then Cam Ward has to play a mature game. And, Michigan State has gone from being a very deep team to one that has some questions now that Jordan Scott is in the starting lineup. Maybe you're going to get something great from Kurtang. Maybe you're going to get nothing from Kurtang. And maybe the same with Cam Ward. So there are more questions, let's say.
Yeah, I would say, and obviously Kaufman-Renn is a huge problem, or can be when he's playing well, which has not always been the case this year by his standards.
Right.
But, you look at the numbers, Purdue does not get to the foul line a lot. They don't draw a lot of fouls. Now, I know he's a different beast compared to the rest of that roster, but I think there's a chance for Jackson to hang in there, defend him adequately, and not get himself in foul trouble. But you're right. He's got to actually do it.
All right. For this Michigan State team, are you more optimistic? Do you think there's a better chance that Michigan State wins tonight with all that's on the line for both teams, or wins the last game of the regular season in Chrysler?
Last game of the regular season in Chrysler.
Really?
Just because of the. I understand that each year is its own thing, but I also know what Mackey is.
Yeah.
And I also would say this. As I mentioned, Purdue really hasn't played very well by the standard of expectation there was around that team for about 3 months, 2.5 months.
Right.
they're due at some point. I feel like they're overdue. To just have a game where they shoot the lights out, nobody can miss, they actually defend decently.
Yeah.
They seem ripe for that. I don't know that I'm going to be saying the same thing about Michigan. I also think that, frankly, the motivation is going to be higher for Michigan State in that game, as it always is. And Chrysler's just not a tough building.
Yeah.
It's just not.
One thing about Mackey that is unique, and if you haven't been there, you can't really feel it. 14,240 seats in a very small shell. They say that you could pick up Mackey Arena and airlift it and drop it inside the Bryce Jordan Center. But one of the things that makes it difficult is you have roughly the same capacity that you do in Breslin, and there are no chair back seats. So it's bleachers all around, and the high rollers are happy to stand through the whole game. Maybe their elderly fans are, they get in shape for this. I don't know. But you feel like they're right on top of you. They can feel like they're right on top of you in Breslin, too, with the students ringed around. But you can look up and you can see the back row at Mackey.
Yeah, I think that's an underrated element of that building.
Yeah.
I always, in my mind, I always think about the real pits as being those old buildings like Jennison was, or Williams Arena, or, all the other ones that used to be in the Big Ten. But the truth is, Mackey fits the description, and I guess it's just old enough that they weren't thinking about seatbacks in 1967.
Right, exactly. That's it. We had those arenas come in the 60s. And there's Mackey, of course, Chrysler, the Assembly Hall, 2 Assembly Halls, actually.
Right.
Interesting stuff with those buildings. But do you know the story of the first game ever in Mackey?
I think I've heard it, but I don't recall. Rick Mount was playing that,
He was. Yeah. And John Wooden, of course, still might be on the Purdue all-time team, but he was a 3-time All-American back in the 30s. And then he went on and coached Indiana State, and then went out to UCLA when Minnesota didn't notify him on time that he wanted the job, that they wanted him to take that job. So they brought him back, and UCLA had won 3 of its 10 national championships, but they said, we're going to have the commemoration dedication game. Let's try to bring Wooden back with UCLA, playing against Mount. And, I think it was Rick's first game, actually, because it was the 67 season, right? So this is like the biggest event in the history of West Lafayette. There's never been a football game that was this big, and UCLA came in and put it to them. But there haven't been many times where that has happened. We had Sam Vincent on the show yesterday, Rod, and Vincent had the all-time opponent record there of 39 points, 33 after the intermission, until Keaton Wagler put up 46 there this year. So, there haven't been many teams that have come home happy. Let's just say that.
Who was it? Magic's sophomore year, Arnett Hallman.
Yes,
was he the one who
yes,
was the game winner?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So that's always my standard. Is if Magic can get beat in a building, well, anybody can.
Yeah, yeah. Gregory Kelser, who, of course, part of 2 of the greatest teams in Michigan State history, told us yesterday he was 1-3 in Mackey, and the only win that he had was his freshman year, and Terry Furlow hit a jump shot with about 10 seconds to go, or he'd have been 0-4 there. So, yeah, I guess that's the way it goes. As you look around the Big Ten, I consider you to be an outstanding evaluator and analyst. Can you explain the wackiness of this conference? You look at what Illinois did, blowing a 33-10 lead in Pauley. Last night, Oregon, which had lost 10 in a row, I believe, earlier, playing a little bit better lately, but scores 55 in the second half against Wisconsin and basically couldn't miss. Badgers shot 45 threes, which I know you think can be a recipe for disaster. And that's what happened.
I think with both of those teams, Illinois shoots threes about as often as Wisconsin does.
Yeah.
I didn't look back at the numbers in the UCLA game to see if that was what really did them in, but I think that explains some of what you're talking about. I just think if you're that dependent on the shot, the play with the most variability in the sport, you're going to have a hard time being consistent. Now, Illinois is a much better team than Wisconsin because they do other things so well. They're such a good defensive team. They rebound exceptionally well. They do enough that it makes up for a lot of that variability in shooting. But even with them, wrong day or night, and it can go sideways in a hurry. So I think that explains a lot about both of those teams, to be honest, particularly Wisconsin, because unlike Illinois, they do have some holes.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell by the Michigan State game there, but it's true. They do have a lot of holes.
Well, we know what happened Sunday at Breslin Center with Ohio State and the Spartans, and it's probably a good thing that Devin Royal was not in the lineup for that game for Michigan State. But I watched Ohio State last night lose by 17 at Iowa, and I don't know if the Michigan State game took too much out of them, but they didn't look like the same team. And there was another game this week that I'm still trying to figure out. Would you have believed if I told you that a top 3 team in the nation at home with the chance to lock up a championship would out-rebound an opponent by 21 and shoot 50% from the field, 42% from deep, and 100% at the line and only win by 10 points?
Yeah, that's wild. You talk about Michigan against
Minnesota.
Yeah. I will say this, and it's not just because Minnesota got Michigan State, but I've been really impressed with the job Nico Medved's done.
Yeah.
I think he's done a really good job because I'm telling you, he does not have material to work with.
Right.
Very little. He's got the Tyson kid who came from North Carolina, and that's about it in terms of real high major talent, and yet they've pulled off some impressive wins. They've been very competitive, as you're noting, even in some losses. I think he's going to get that program right.
There were a lot of teams, Rod, who did not want to play Colorado State the last few years. And wouldn't schedule it.
Right.
And that's why. We saw it.
Yep.
So, in terms of the matchup tonight, Braden and Jeremy, is this going to determine first team All Big Ten? Are they both going to make it? You can make the case that they'd be playing for second team behind Keaton and Wagler, I guess, but maybe not. Maybe you can throw those 3 in a hat. Wagler did not have a good game against Michigan State. It was his only stinker in a long, long time. But what do you make of those 3 guards, and how'd you rank them 1, 2, 3?
Well, with those 3 guys, I think you really are splitting hairs because they've all been exceptional.
Yeah.
This is where I go, though, and I could be accused of having a little bit of bias here, but I don't think so. I think there's a good objective case to be made for Fears as the number 1 guy on that list. Here's why. Offensively, all 3 of them have had great seasons. Now, Wagler and Smith shoot it better than Jeremy does.
Yeah.
Jeremy's the best playmaker in the conference. So I think offensively, and Jeremy's scoring, really since about the middle of January, has picked up to the point that I think it's pretty close between those 3 guys on the offensive end. If somebody wants to rate him number 3 among those guys, that's fine, but it's a close number 3.
Yeah.
The difference to me, though, is basketball gets played at 2 ends, not 1. And I think clear-cut, without question, Jeremy Fears is, by a significant margin, the best defender of those 3. So that, to me, gives him a little bit of an edge. I think all 3 belong on the first team. And I think they probably will because they don't lock it in by position, correct?
Right. That's right.
I think it's just,
Yeah.
So I would think all three end up on the first team with Yaxel, and then I don't know who the fifth guy is. You could argue it could be another point guard. It could be Thornton. It could be Sturts. You know, one of those guys maybe.
Right.
But I think they're all really. This has been an exceptional year for point guard play in the league. There's no doubt about that. But I would give the nod to Jeremy as a complete player.
Bruce Thornton certainly looked like he belonged Sunday. I wonder if they've ever had an all Big Ten team or an all conference team from any power league where 4 of the 5 positions were point guards.
Yeah, but probably not very often. But it is true about the conference this year. Just really exceptional point guard play.
You can catch Rod and Eric tonight after the game. Eric will not be at Mackey. So about how long afterward are you going to post?
We'll go live probably 15, 20 minutes or so after the game.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. So figure about 10, 15, 10, 20.
If you are listening to the Jack and Tom postgame podcast, I implore you, stay up a little later. We're only on for 15 minutes. These guys go an hour, and they break it down the way that no one else does. So if you want a good listen, whether you are joyful or celebrant, or whether you're in misery and you're looking for someone to commiserate with, that's a good use of your time tonight and the 8 o'clock start. Rod, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the game.
Thanks, Jack.
Rod Barmack, the Final Four is not on the schedule. All right. When we get back, one of my favorite guests, I say that a lot, but this one is really at the top of that list. Don Fisher, Hall of Fame voice of the Indiana Hoosiers, football and basketball, and I promise, Rob, I'm not going to spend the whole time talking Indiana football. We are going to talk Indiana basketball with IU hosting Michigan State late Sunday afternoon at Simon Scott Center. Used to be the Assembly Hall in Bloomington. So we will talk with Don Fisher coming up next on The Drive with Jack.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Hey, Jack, I'm looking for a lunch deal that actually scores.
One North Kitchen and Bar has a 2 for $12 lunch combo, right, Jeremy?
Absolutely. We can mix and match half sandwiches, salads, soups, or classics like cheese quesadillas and personal pizzas. Weekdays 11 to 2 and Saturdays from 10 to 2.
One North.
Easy win.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Great time to get a great vehicle.
Fantastic time, Jack. 0% financing is back. Hard to believe this time right now we can get a vehicle with 0 interest.
Wow.
And if you're looking to pay cash, how about rebates up to $10,000? That's unheard of lately, right? $10,000 off on a vehicle. How about leasing? You want to lease? You can lease a vehicle right now in the low 3s. Come on out and take a look.
You're talking everyone's language. Stop and see Matt and the gang. They're making friends.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob, in studio today, 105 West Allegan, and we have lots to talk about. You know, this is an all-basketball show, Rob. We don't have many of these single-theme shows, but that's what we have now, and we are talking basketball and college basketball just about throughout the show. From Tony Garcia to Rod Barmack. We're going to be joined momentarily here by Don Fisher. Then we have three. Well, no, that's tomorrow. Actually, I'm looking ahead too far for the guests from the IZZone. We have 3 guests more from the IZZone tomorrow. But we're going to be talking a lot of college basketball today, and Deshaun Tate will also join us. So. Excited about that. And we have some more preseason baseball today. And Tigers lost to the Orioles 6-5. The battle of the orange shirts now. And I'm not allowed to talk about the Tigers not having a win yet because it doesn't matter. But nonetheless, we're very happy to welcome in a guy who can certainly talk basketball, since he was the voice of the Indiana Hoosiers going back to the last undefeated NCAA basketball team, and can talk college football since he is the voice of the last undefeated NCAA football champion. Don Fisher has been a state Hall of Fame representative for the National Sports Media Association as much as anybody on the planet. Don, how are you?
I'm doing good, Jack. How about yourself?
I am good. Has the party stopped? Has anyone gone to sleep yet in Bloomington?
No, they have not. No. It's been wide awake for a long time now. No, it's been a party. There's no doubt about it. Every time you see somebody who you haven't seen for a little bit comes up and says something about the national championship football team, and most people say it's still very much kind of a dream for them because nobody believes it could happen, especially in Indiana.
You know, Don, you know Tom Izzo pretty well.
Yes, I do.
He loves college football and football coaches. And his all-time idol is Vince Lombardi, not a basketball coach, but it's a football coach. He feels most comfortable talking to football coaches. And I said to him kind of in jest, are you going to be looking forward to your trip to Bloomington, which normally he does not, except to see you. And he said, yeah, maybe I'll see Curt Cignetti.
Well, if he gets Curt Cignetti at a basketball game, it would be unique because Curt doesn't come to many.
Yeah.
It's not that he doesn't like basketball, but he is consumed by football, as you know. And he's one of those guys that very much, if he's not doing something related to his team in the building, he's watching football on tape. He's watching football players on tape. He's looking at film all the time. He's one of those people that's truly consumed by football other than his family.
And Curt may be on the road. Who knows this weekend? He could be picking up his 78th award for the coaching job. But I said to Izzo, so are you going to try to meet with him? Are you going to have a conversation? I'd love to hear it. He said, just tell me where to go. So.
Well, I know Tom would like to meet him. I doubt that it's going to happen tomorrow night, but I could be wrong. I mean, he's got that. He's got the one thing that you and I don't have. The ability to say, "This is Curt Cignetti. Will you talk to me?" Or that kind of thing. And I'm sure Curt Cignetti would talk to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be a great picture when you think of the Big Ten's all-time winningest basketball coach and the guy who has had the miracle turnaround in football. It would be a great collectible if you could ever figure out a way to get that autograph for a charity.
Oh, I know.
That would go for an auction, right? Yeah.
That would go for a lot of dough. There's no doubt about it.
I'm wondering if there is the basketball equivalent of the Indiana football surprise, and there is not. But if there was one, would it be Indiana losing 6 straight times to Northwestern?
You had to bring that up, didn't you? I thought we were going to talk about football the whole conversation. Good Lord. Trust me, the 6 straight losses to the Wildcats is a bit embarrassing, to say the least. Only one of those belongs to Darren DeVries, but he now is a part of that grouping, and I know he's not happy about it, to say the least.
Well, when we talk about the last game, again, it was in Bloomington, and I am known somewhat as a defender of officials. Not that I think that they are perfect, but I think they have an extremely difficult job. And I don't know many people in the stands who could do it better. But I have to say, one of the worst calls I have seen in a long, long time, Don, was the one at the end of the game. I mean, is DeVries' arm okay? He got that thing hacked, and it went sideways, and then, he didn't have a shot after that, and the official was sitting there just looking at it.
I know. I saw the video, too. I saw the replay of it while we were still on the air in the ball game itself.
Yeah.
It was egregious, to say the least.
Yeah.
And, I know there's no question basketball is a really challenging job to referee. There's just no question about that, and I get that.
Yeah.
But there are some calls that are so obvious,
yes,
and you just cannot understand how a veteran official can possibly miss that, and yet they still do. Here's my biggest gripe about college basketball officiating right now, is that nobody has learned or nobody has remembered what traveling looks like.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
Suddenly we've turned into the NBA.
Well,
it's just crazy.
And Izzo talks about this ad nauseum. If you're looking for a way to open a conversation and you have 45 minutes, you can ask him if you think Big Ten officials are underworked, because the fact that they work 38 days a month is the bane of his existence. And some of these guys, they're just out there, and by the end of the game, there's some pace to these games, and I don't know whether they get blinking a lot or what, but I can't imagine anyone who could pass an eye test would not have called that foul.
I know, that's exactly right. And look, the saddest part of that is that Indiana should not have been in that position.
Yes.
And look, you let a team hang around for the last 20 minutes of a ball game, right, and they chip away at you and they chip away at you. You put yourself in that spot, and you cannot allow that to happen, especially in a game that's a must. I don't want to say it was a must-win, but it's close.
Right.
Especially in Indiana's situation from a record perspective and trying to make an NCAA tournament field for the first time in 3 years.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden to make the NCAA tournament now, Indiana's going to have to win all 3 of these games they have left, which includes Michigan State on Sunday, Minnesota, and Ohio State on the road.
Yeah.
And then they're probably going to have to win a game, at least one game in the Big Ten tournament, which has always been a problem for this team, because I can go back and cite you how many times they've lost in the very first game they played in the Big Ten tournament, and it would shock you.
Yeah, that's right. Big Ten tournament has not been Indiana's shining moment, no question. But in terms of making the tournament, Don, I said the same thing, and then I was trying to play around with it. I'm not Mike DeCourcy or Joe Lunardi, but I was trying to look at who might be in and who might not, and it's hard to get 68 teams this year. I mean, there are going to be some teams that we're going to look at and say, okay, are they really a NCAA tournament team? Well, they're the 66th best, so I guess they are.
Well, I think the biggest problem these days, Jack, in my opinion, and I understand why conference championship teams, should get in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
But man, the mid-majors that get in and that kind of stuff, there's no way a lot of those teams can compete. Now, some would say, well, if they play against Purdue, they got a shot in the first round. And that's a shot at Purdue. And
that was good. I like that. That was very good. I'll use that.
But the truth of the matter is, I just think I think the number of automatic bids to the conference, with conference champions getting in for the mid-major schools and stuff like that, just cuts back on every other opportunity for schools that playing in a much tougher division or conference, that kind of thing. But, I don't know how I should do it at this point. I do know this. I think you've got to earn your way in these days because there's no question if you don't, and it can't be just because of the quad system that they put in there now.
Right.
You just can't. You've got to beat somebody.
Yeah.
You got to beat somebody during the year, especially in these major conferences. And if you don't, you're not going to get in. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Don, one of the things that has always intrigued me about the NCAA tournament, the matchups that you don't see during the regular season and you're curious about. So lots being made of Miami, Ohio, undefeated, and could go through the regular season unbeaten and lose in the conference championship game. And the question is, would they get in? Because the MAC has not been a two-bid league. But I think I'm curious as to how a team like that would do, and maybe they would lose by 20. I don't know, but I've seen USC in action enough to know that are they really So I'm curious with all of these teams, and hey, we've seen good teams get stung this week. We saw Illinois blow a 23-point lead at UCLA. Last night, Wisconsin gave up 55 points in the second half to an Oregon team that had lost 10 in a row.
I know.
So, I mean, how would you separate Indiana, Ohio State, I guess UCLA, right? Maybe USC?
I would not say UCLA because I think UCLA is in the driver's seat right now as far as the tournament bid. But I would definitely say USC for sure. And you could make a case for two or three other teams, the Iowa Hawkeyes. There are a lot of teams in this league that are right there. But you got to finish strong. And Indiana started out with a 4-game stretch here. We thought there was a chance they could win all 4, maybe 3 out of 4. Now it's got to be 3 straight just to have a chance to get in.
Wow. Yeah. When you think about UCLA, that's one of the most bipolar basketball teams you will see. I just watched them in Ann Arbor and East Lansing, Don, lose by 53 points. And it was the largest back-to-back losses for the Bruins since 1944 and 45 when they lost to USC and a team from 20th Century Fox.
No, I know. It's just a bizarro world we live in now, in so many different ways, including football. Which who would have thought Indiana? You know what I mean, for a national championship.
I know one guy who would. His name is Signetti, and when he came in, and you remember this as well as anyone because you were sitting there doing the basketball game. But when he did that, I laughed, and then I said, "Man, is he in for a rude awakening?" And then when he came to the Big Ten Media Days that summer, and he was cocky, and we said, well, in fact, Bill Benner told me he was kind of his escort, taking him around from interview to interview, and he said when it was over, he told his wife, either this guy is going to be the biggest winner ever, or he is going to crash and burn in a way that we have not seen, and Indiana has seen a few of those.
Well, Billy Boy was wrong about that. He wasn't going to crash and burn. And look, I went and, I told you this before, Jack. I went and saw their early practices for the first year he was here in the spring, and I was not dumbfounded, but I was really cognizant of what I saw, that it was going to be special. And it turned out to be that very thing. And at this point, I was feeling that way about Darren DeVries for a lot of this season. I felt like he had done a tremendous job with a team that basically got a bunch of recruits out of, not Division II, but mid-major schools. I mean, that's where most of these players came from. With the exception of Sam Alexis, who was an undersized post player that just came off the bench and played a little bit for Florida in their national championship. But, and Tucker DeVries always had a good reputation, of course, but again, it was a mid-major reputation primarily. Because at West Virginia, he played just, 8 games, I think it was, and got hurt and didn't play the rest of the season. But But we're looking at a basketball team that was, limited at best coming in, and I thought had, up to this point, up to this last ball game against Northwestern, I thought they kind of overachieved. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden here, we're in a position now where we are questionable as far as the NCAA tournament's concerned. And, and as you know, the Indiana faithful are not exactly excited about the fact that Indiana is not going to be in the tournament again if, in fact, that happens. And it'll bring about the boo birds and all that kind of stuff, as we all know. That's just part of the game. But at the same time, I think it'll be disappointing for Darren and I think the staff, because they felt like this team had everything right where it needed to be in regard to getting into the tournament this year.
I mentioned what a picture autographed of Izzo and Signetti could go for a charity. I'm wondering what you could get for an audio recording of a conversation between Bob Knight and Curt Signetti. If they had an hour conversation, what would that be like?
They are. I don't want to say they're a lot alike in personality. I don't think. I think they are in some ways, personality-wise. I think they believe in a lot of the same things. I really do believe that. Knight was very much a disciplinarian. I think Signetti's very much a disciplinarian. I think Knight put a huge factor on guys that played or had played and produced. And that's something that Curt Signetti also looks at with high regard. He doesn't go out and just get a bunch of guys that have been on teams that were Ohio States and Michigans and Michigan States and teams like that. Yeah. No, he goes out and gets guys and vets them to find out how much they played, how experienced they are, and what they did for their team. And if it doesn't fit, he doesn't get them.
Right.
It's that simple. Right. So, anyway, there's a lot about Bob Knight that Curt Signetti has in his realm as well, that he believes in and philosophy-wise, and I think that's one of the reasons that team was so successful in its first 2 years.
I can only imagine how many expletives would be strung together if you told Bob Knight that Indiana was going to blast through the nation and be the national champ in football and miss the NCAA tournament 3 straight years.
Well, trust me, Jack, you know Coach Knight as well as I do, and there would have been that string of expletives would probably still be hanging in the air for some time.
We're talking with Don Fisher. Of course, he is the voice of Indiana University and has been since, what was your first year? 1973. Three. Wow.
73, 74 was my first year at IU.
Wow. So Bob predates you by a couple of years, right?
Yes, I was here. I was with him for 27 of his 29.
Okay, all right. So how are the fans responding to Darren DeVries? Are they feeling no pain because of what happened in fall and in January, or are they critical? How are they evaluating the progress?
I think most people, because they know what college athletics has turned into. With all the NIL stuff and with the transfer portal and the fact that the entire roster was brought in this year, I think these fans are giving Darren a pass in regard to how good they have become or will be or what they intend to be at the end of this season. I think he's going to get that pass, and he should. That said, they won't be happy about not making the tournament for a 3rd straight year, because that's what Indiana fans expect. Yeah. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, they think Indiana should be in the NCAA tournament every year, and some people think they should be no less than a Sweet 16 team.
Right.
But they haven't been that for a long time now. So, honestly, I think right now Darren probably will not have to worry about his job in any way, shape, or form. And I do think that most people have loved the way this team has competed in most ball games up into the last 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Because they have not competed well in the second half of any of those ball games.
So, Don, we both know what rivalries are like. And here, Michigan State fans would root for Al-Qaeda over Michigan. And I'm wondering, in Hoosier Nation, most of the fans be rooting for Michigan State tonight in Mackey Arena. Would they rather not have Michigan State come in on a high to Simon Scott Center on Sunday? or are they just rooting for Purdue to lose in their squad games?
Well, I didn't catch the first part of your question because you popped out on me, and I didn't hear anything you said up to one point, so I don't know what the first part of the question was.
Okay, I was just saying because we have seen in rivalries, I made the point that Michigan State fans root for Al-Qaeda over the Wolverines.
Right, I heard that.
I heard that. And I'm wondering if Indiana fans will be pulling for Michigan State or against Michigan State based on momentum coming into Assembly Hall, Scott Center, or whether they just hate Purdue and they always root for whoever they play.
Well, there's a good number of Indiana fans and vice versa Purdue fans who would never root for the other. But there are a lot of people, I think, that take state pride as well, with both Indiana and Purdue being in the same state. So from a rivalry standpoint, I think there's a pretty good mix of people out there that would root for both teams in most situations. I can tell you this, however, that no Indiana fan that I know is rooting for Purdue to win a national championship.
So, Indiana football, trip to the White House? Is that?
Well, I don't think, has that come now?
I don't think so. I don't
think it has. I don't think we were invited to the White House. It
No.
may have been a fact that the team that we beat was in Miami.
That's possible. Right. Didn't want to do that. You don't even get a trip to Mar-a-Lago. So, if that happened, then, or it didn't happen, and Purdue basketball won and got a trip to see the president, would Hoosier Nation bristle at that?
I would. Yes, I would. I'd be upset about it. Now, I can't speak for everybody else in the country from an Indiana perspective, but I can speak for myself. That would tick me off big time.
One more question for you, and I'm not trying to be a smartass, but you have seen every Big Ten basketball tournament. Started in 1998. And Indiana hasn't had a lot of long stays there, but someone asked me what the difference is between a Big Ten basketball tournament at United Center, where, college basketball is, and even the teams there, it's a pro town, as opposed to having it in Indianapolis at Gainbridge, where it's so embracing the college environment, especially the Big Ten. Is it a little bit less if it's not in Indianapolis?
I think it is. Yeah. My belief is that, and I understand Chicago's the home of the Big Ten conference and their offices and all those kinds of things. I get all that. Yeah. But there is no place in the Midwest that's a better place to hold a Big Ten tournament than Indianapolis. They know how to do it. They've been doing it for years. Yeah. And that's where it ought to be every year because it's such an accommodating city in that context of the teams coming in, where they'd stay. Yeah. Everybody stays downtown. It's just it's a great environment for everybody, and I think most fans believe the same thing.
Someone said, well, they didn't want to have the Big Ten tournament there this year because they have the Final Four there. And I said, okay, but then it's going to be in Chicago, and they're going to have a regional in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the difference?
Exactly. That's what I would say too, Jack. I don't pay attention to a lot of that stuff, but I will tell you this: it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If that's their excuse, then there is no excuse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, and I'm not saying this because I'm talking to you, I've said it other times, they can just park the Big Ten tournament in Indianapolis and forget about moving it around to other cities, and I guess it's headed out to Las Vegas, right?
That's what I've heard. I'm not pleased about that either. But look, I understand what they're doing. But Las Vegas makes no sense. There's no Big Ten team in Las Vegas. Right. It doesn't make, why?
That's right.
That's just, and basically, I guess they just want to spend money because that's where you spend all your money if you're going to Vegas, right?
Right. Exactly. Don, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. I wish I'd be there Sunday, but I will see you at the Big Ten tournament.
All right. Sounds good, man. Good talking to you, as always.
Don Fisher, legendary voice of Indiana University's 1973 season. Wow. All right. We'll be right back. And I mentioned we were going to have his own presence, and we are, but not in studio. Okay, that's tomorrow. Today, we're going to be joined by Nick Kelly, and you might remember Nick. He was in here a couple of weeks ago and did a great job with other IZZone members telling us about why Michigan State has the advantage it has for home games. Guess where Nick is right now, Rob?
He didn't make the trip to Purdue, did
he? He certainly did.
Look at that. That's why he's not sitting in here.
That's exactly right. You're a smart guy.
It comes all together.
Pretty smart for a guy from Boston.
Yeah, thank you.
He is en route to Mackey. I think he has switched now, so he's not driving, so he's going to be able to talk to us without getting in an accident. But he is en route to West Lafayette, and West Lafayette is an interesting place where it is located. It's there are like 3 ways to get there, and none of them are any good. So, he is.
I'll make sure he's not driving. How's that? We
don't
want to have any type of accident.
No.
He's live on the air here.
He has probably done the driver switch.
Okay.
So he will be able to talk to us in just a couple minutes. Then we're going to talk with Deshaun Tate, some college basketball, and certainly the NBA and the Detroit Pistons. Lost to the Spurs, but beat the Thunder, and they have a big game coming up tomorrow night against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think that's going to be a preview. Close your ears, Rob. That's going to be a preview of the NBA Eastern Conference Final. We'll be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Some great product here in early 2026.
You got it, Jack. Here at Chevy, we have, backed by popular demand, the all-new Bolt. Redesigned and back in full force for us. People are really excited about that vehicle. It did great for us in the past.
Great.
And then next door, the Nissan Sentra, completely redesigned for that model. Great fuel economy. It's going to be a hot seller for us.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Hey, Jack, you love a good gift card.
Yes, Jeremy, I do.
One North makes it even better. Reload your One North gift card now through January for 15% off and keep those good meals coming. Lunch, dinner, happy hour, covered. Reload it, use it, repeat. One North Kitchen and Bar.
Where gift cards keep giving.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Great time to get a great vehicle.
Fantastic time, Jack. 0% financing is back. Hard to believe this time right now we can get a vehicle with 0 interest.
Wow.
And if you're looking to pay cash, how about rebates up to $10,000? That's unheard of lately, right? $10,000 off on a vehicle. How about leasing? You want to lease? You can lease a vehicle right now in the low 3s. Come on out and take a look.
You're talking everyone's language. Stop and see Matt and the gang. They're making friends.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack. Good rejoin, Rob. Here with my producer, Boston Rob, and we are in studio, but our next guest is not. He has been, and he will be again, but today he is en route to West Lafayette, Indiana, for Michigan State Purdue tonight. Nick Kelly joins us, standout member of the I-Zone. Where are you now, Nick?
Hello, Jack. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
I am 27 minutes away from West Lafayette. We just passed Delphi.
Okay, Delphi.
I don't know, middle of nowhere, Indiana.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
Don't roll down the
on our
window.
way.
You'll pick up a strange odor about that point. Yeah.
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 Definitely. No, so we're about 25 minutes out. I'm with my girlfriend who has taken over driving duties.
Nice.
Both of her parents and her twin sister go to Purdue.
Okay.
Who we are visiting. So
Okay.
I've been down there once before.
Yeah.
But never for a game. Obviously, as a lifelong Michigan State fan, Big Ten basketball fan, I've always wanted to get down for a game at Mackey, and now's our chance. So
You want to give your girlfriend a shout out and give us her name? This might help you with brownie points.
Of course, this is Deanna Irwin. She's driving right. She can hear you if you want to say hi.
Hi, Deanna. Hi.
I know her dad is watching too, so hello, Mr. Irwin, as well.
Well, I'm glad that you have a terrific Uber driver there. She's much more than that, obviously. She is a Michigan State student, too?
She is, yes. Also a member of the I-Zone. Has been to almost all of the games with me, too.
Wow.
So, dedicated member.
Is she as fanatic about Michigan State basketball as you are?
Well, she's giving me the so-so look right now, but I would say so. She grew up around Purdue fans who are also equally as passionate about basketball, so she's grown up loving basketball. So she's definitely more than the average Joe involved with this team. So, so yeah, she's a good fan.
So a lot on the line in this game, not just for Michigan State and Purdue, but also for the Irwins' Thanksgiving dinner, bragging rights, all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
100% right.
Yeah. Okay. So she has been to Mackey, though, right? Or she has not?
She has been, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
How many games have you been to? 3, 4?
Okay.
She's been to multiple Michigan State Purdue games before, too.
Okay.
And I don't know if I told you this predicament I was in, but she has gone into the Purdue student section while wearing Michigan State clothes before.
How'd that work out?
Something not well. They did make her change shirts. She silently rooted for Michigan State, but obliged with their golden, what color is it? Golden black.
Yeah, golden black.
Yeah,
old golden black. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would personally never put on a golden black shirt, but she's still rooted for Michigan State. So she's been a couple of times. She's very excited for me to see it, as I am myself.
So you're not sitting in the middle of the paint crew here, right, tonight. You're somewhere else, right?
No, we are not.
Okay.
We are not. I very willingly paid a little extra money to not sit in the paint crew because, again, I'm not wearing black and gold.
Yeah.
But, so we're going to be middle of the upper deck, but right on midcourt. They were good deal on the tickets. Should be good. I mean, what she says and what everybody says, there's not a bad seat in Mackey, so I'm super excited.
So can I give you one tip, one piece of advice based on having been to games at Purdue for more than 40 years?
Yes, of course. Please, I was going to ask.
Do not at any point stand up and scream, "Go Jeremy, kick Braden Smith's ass." That will not work out well for you.
No, that was not on my to-do list.
Okay, all right.
But yes, everybody I've met at Purdue has been nice. However, I've never been wearing Michigan State gear there, so I'm expecting a completely different experience, and I will definitely not be doing that.
You know how when the I-Zone rings the court, and you are somewhere in that lower ring, right? Most of the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Mackey Arena is like all bleachers. So there are no chair back seats, and it's very intimate, very close. If you are normally in row 30, you're in about row 20. the same distance from the court. So it's a very different environment, and especially with football, these schools that have not done well in football in a few years. So the Michigan State-Purdue basketball rivalry has taken center stage. Purdue coming off a 29-point win over Indiana. What do you make of this Boilermakers team?
Like you said, this rivalry has grown and grown as the years gone on. I remember some great games, Miles Bridges game winners, Tyson Walker game winners. But Purdue, you're always signed up for a top 15, at least. Purdue is going to be top 15. We've been in and out of the top 15 the last 5 years, but you're always in for a good team. So, this team specifically, what are they ranked now? Eighth?
Eighth, yeah.
They've looked like a 1 seed. They've looked like a 4 seed. So, I think their inconsistency is equivalent, is similar to what Michigan State's gone through.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's whether each team shows up. I was talking to her as we came here. If Michigan State can just shoot the 3-ball well, convert on offense, you're going to be in this game to win. If we don't show up and we lay an egg like we did against Michigan, against Duke, Purdue's going to run us up and down the court, and we're going to lose by 20. So I think the spread is 7.5. I think that's disrespectful. I think this team is in no way that much worse than this Purdue team, and I would really put this game as a toss-up right now.
So I'm also interested in that spread. I think it's maybe a little higher. I suppose it's a possibility that Michigan State could get run. But for a lot of people, they say, well, Michigan State never wins there. They used to win there a lot, but they haven't since 2014. And how much do you think people are saying, well, it's there. If it was in East Lansing, it'd be totally different.
Right. No, my dad called me on the way down, too, and said that same stat. We haven't won in Mackey in 12 years.
Right.
Why is this going to be the change? But you don't like to talk about being due in sports, because as soon as you're due, you lose 10 more games in a row, and you are like, well, maybe we shouldn't just be hoping on luck. But, I think this is a very captain-heavy, senior-heavy-led team. I think Jackson Kohler and Carson Cooper have done a great job controlling this team. I know they had a players-only meeting yesterday, which I'm sure happens more often than not. But to have this leadership on this team this year, Jeremy Fears obviously in his third year is matured. I would trust this team more than any in the last 4 years to put this effort on the court, because they understand what it means to win this game. And I just trust them to stay in this game to the end. Our defense hopefully holds like it has all year. And all we're asking for is a shot to win down the stretch. And I would trust this team and these seniors to put us in that position.
Nick, we had your buddies, Jack Costa and Ryan Lynch, in studio Tuesday. You could not be here. And we were talking to them about their basketball abilities. And Ryan said that he would win a three-point shooting contest, but Jack is significantly taller, would win a dunk contest. What's your basketball ability, and how would you stack up with your buddies?
So I was lucky enough. I played in high school at Seaholm High School outside of Detroit.
Yep.
I was never flashy ball handler. I was never, high flyer. I couldn't dunk. I couldn't do anything. But my role on the court was completely off ball. So I was cutting.
Oh, yeah.
I was finding the open spot.
Yeah.
I was playing. This is why I told you the last time I was on.
Yeah.
Jordan Scott is my favorite player.
Right.
Because he doesn't have all the intangibles of Cohen Carr, of Braden Smith, of these, dynamic playmakers, but he always makes winning plays and is in the right spot, makes the right cut, finds the open spot. So that was kind of what I tried to do.
Okay.
Now, I obviously was never going to play in college, but I understood my role, and I understood the intricacies that go on that most people don't realize. So I just tried my best to, find the open spot, find the open three, find the open back cut, play good defense, obviously, rebound, offensive rebound. So I was more of a off-ball scorer type of guy.
Team player.
Defender, rebounder.
Yeah.
So if I said I would take myself, I guess, in a three-point contest, if any.
Okay. Right.
Even we'll play. You know, we have a IM basketball team, and that I can compete in and score. But then we play 3-on-3 basketball, and I'm supposed to be the scorer, and that's where I kind of hit a wall.
All right.
So
when we talk about roles, what is your role in the ISO? What do you have to do?
Can you say that one more time? Sorry.
Yeah, and in terms of roles, what is your role in the ISO? And when you go to a game, what's your intent?
Yeah, so I would say being that sixth man on the court. I mean, so many times this year, you remember big stretches of offense coming. You know, against Michigan, I remember we tightened the game up finally, and it was the loudest crowd I've ever heard at a sports arena. In that possession, Michigan got a 30-second violation. Place was going crazy. They had to call a timeout, and we bring that next level of intensity and really just intensity is the best way to describe it to these games that players are ready for. So, you know, I mean, you watch games. I mean, I remember watching our West Coast trip against Washington and Oregon, and I was just at, no offense to them, I was at Eastern Michigan to watch the Miami-Ohio Eastern Michigan game, but, like, they don't really have a student section, and that's just kind of when I realized how beneficial it is for a team to have a fan base that's as caring as we are at Michigan State. So I really think that defensive edge starts with the ISO, and you have an extra 1,000 people screaming in your face, ringing the court, the other team's going to hear it. There's no doubt about it.
You mentioned Miami, Ohio. I'm curious because you saw them actually play. Most people have not. Where do you think the unbeaten Miami of Ohio Redhawks would finish in the Big Ten?
That's a great question. So, yeah, I've been lucky enough. I've been to 2 games, actually, this year. I went down because one of my best friend's best friend actually plays on the team, and that hasn't been a super special thing until this year. So I've been lucky to see a couple games, and they are no joke. People like to write them off, but they are the number 1 scoring team in the country, and they are the number 1 field goal percentage in the country. I mean, you don't just do that. It doesn't matter who you're playing. If you are that efficient, good things are going to happen. So what would they finish in the Big Ten? I would put them, I mean, I'm not going to get super crazy and say they're finishing top 5. I could definitely see them finishing around the midway point, which is very impressive.
Are they a Wisconsin, Iowa level kind of team, do you think?
Maybe not there, but not far off. I think they fit perfectly at the 9 and 10 seeds. So I would say they're probably a little better than Indiana and Ohio State, but not quite that Iowa level.
Okay. All right, fair enough. You mentioned your favorite player, Jordan Scott, and he has not played in an environment like Mackey Arena. Even Kohl Center was not that. Wondering how he will do, and he is about as poised as anyone I've ever met his age. But it's still, it's your first time in the madness. How do you think he will fare tonight?
Right. I mean, really, you just have to wait and see. But as you said, anything anybody ever talks about him is his poise. He doesn't have a nervous bone in his body. I've heard Izzo say at least a couple times. So I would trust him over other freshmen in the country to produce and not let him mess with him. But as you say, obviously this is one of the craziest environments in college basketball. So you can say all this on paper, but if it's scary and he doesn't have the best game, you know, it's understandable. Obviously, we'd like to see him have a great game, and I would put money on him to have one over not having one, but that will remain to be seen.
Well, you have teams with the same conference record, both 12-4. They're both 22-5 overall, so their records are identical. They're a few spots apart in the poll. Michigan State has not had a home loss like the one that Purdue had to Iowa State, falling by nearly 30. 3 home losses for Purdue this year. That may be a record, at least in recent times. So I need 2 opinions from you. One is what happens tonight with Fears and Braden Smith. Braden Smith, by the way, has 994 career assists. So there's a very good chance that you're going to see history, Nick. You're going to see his 1,000th career assist, and these guys are 1-2 in the nation in assists. Fears 1, Braden Smith 2. And scoring, Fears is 15-0, and Braden Smith is 14-9, so almost identical. Who wins this matchup tonight between those two?
Well, it is hard for me to pick against Michigan State, and I'm not going to. I will say Jeremy Fears' defense and our collective team defense will give him the edge. But, I mean, like you said, it's the number 1 versus number 2 point guard matchup, and if not the Big Ten in the country. So it's really, I mean, in college basketball, I've always thought about, people have always said to me, point guards are what win you games. The NBA is different. High school is different. College, if you have a great point guard, you will have a chance to win any games. That's what we're going to watch tonight. So I'm obviously going to pick Jeremy Fears because of that defensive edge our team brings. But, I mean, Braden Smith is a really great player. You watch him, he just makes magic out of nothing.
Right.
Able to make shots maybe at a higher clip than Jeremy Fears can. So we'll see. If Jeremy Fears can get to the line, work inside like he is so great at doing, I think he's going to control this game and he's going to walk away with a victory.
All right, last thing, and
that would be my...
Okay, that's fair enough. Last thing, and I understand that you are frequently wearing green goggles. I acknowledge that. But I want to throw this out there for you. If you nail the score exactly right tonight, on me, 2 tickets to a Detroit Pistons game.
All right.
What's the score going to be at Mackey Arena? On the dot.
All right. Have to err towards a lower scoring game.
Okay.
I'm going to say Michigan State 69, Purdue 64.
5-point win. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think it'll be tight till the end. You know, we're not going to dominate the whole game. We may be up 2 with 30 seconds left, and they'll have to foul a couple times. But realistically, this is, if we win, it's less than 5 points. We escape with 1.
Okay.
If I had to pick a loss score, it would probably be Purdue 79, Michigan State 55. But
you think if it's a loss, it'll really be a loss?
Yes. Okay. I really think that's what we'd be looking at. But I'm going to give you this. My official prediction is 69-64.
69-64. Okay, we have that down, Rob.
All right.
And if that is true, ladies and gentlemen, and you decide to bet on this game and take Michigan State into points, and you collect, you can thank Nick Kelly. And if that is not the way it turns out, forget his name. Okay, don't look him up. Don't go trying to find him. All right, Nick. Thanks so much. Hey, have a great time there.
Of course.
I hope it's a great ride home.
Yes. Hopefully a great night out after, and I'm not getting jumped in the back alley for celebrating too hard.
All right, we're going to stay right here, Rob, and welcome in Deshaun Tate. He is our Lansing-bred, Atlanta-based basketball savant. It's Tate's Take Hoops, where basketball lives. Deshaun, we have watched a lot of basketball, a lot of places together. Have you been to Mackey Arena?
I've never been to Mackey Arena. I've been to more football stadiums, Jack, probably because of Final Four, than I have been, true arenas. Campus games. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So what do you see tonight? We got 2 teams with the same record in conference overall, separated by a few spots in the poll. 2 point guard stats almost identical. Number 1 and number 2 assist guys in the country. What are we going to see tonight?
I'm very much a until I'm shown differently guy.
Yes.
That's just Deshaun. That's just the makeup of Deshaun Tate, and a lot of times that goes in the favor of Michigan State. But tonight it doesn't. I mean, how many years are we talking, Jack? 12, 10, at least 10, right?
Yeah, you know that these guys who are on the court tonight for Michigan State were not responsible for any of these losses other than maybe the last one, right, or 2. They didn't lose to them last year, so Guys who are freshmen or sophomores have never lost to Purdue.
Well, how many victories in West Lafayette do those guys have?
They have as many victories as they have defeats.
Well, in that case, then I still like my chances with the home team. And a lot of times I get it that there has been very few games, I think, if my memory serves me correctly, that these games have been close. And then some of the ones that have been closer have felt like they've been by bigger margins than what they actually were. And I don't think it has nearly as much. And this isn't no disrespect or a dig on Purdue, because Purdue has had some really good basketball teams, obviously. But just something about not only playing at Mackey and just that environment of how they get crazy. But it's something. Listen, Michigan State is you got the target on your back when you're in the Big Ten, and everybody sells out and everybody gets excited. I mean, you're the Duke of the Big Ten to whatever degree, however you want to look at it. Right. You know what I mean? You got to get everybody's best shot and things like that. And so I think the keys is ultimately, the bigs have to play exactly that, big, and Jackson Kohler has to hit his shots from the perimeter, something that we saw very early on and often in his senior year, but hasn't been all that consistent as of late.
All right, I want to talk to you, Deshaun, about court stormings. And Michigan State has been involved in 3 of those this year, all on the road. We saw it at Nebraska, right? We saw it at Minnesota. So Michigan State, I guess when you beat Michigan State, it still matters regardless of where the Spartans are.
Was Wisconsin the other
Wisconsin,
one?
yes.
Okay.
You're right, absolutely. Wisconsin.
All in that same part of the region of the Midwest, by the way, all neighbors for whatever reason.
And all teams wearing red for some reason. Yeah. So Purdue does not wearing red. They will not be wearing red tonight. That was Indiana. That's Sunday, and hey, maybe Michigan State will win tonight and lose Sunday. That's also possible. But in terms of what they're going to see tonight, what the fans are going to see, we have seen some bizarre court stormings this year. There was one at UCLA for the win over Illinois, and I didn't think that we would see court stormings in Pauley Pavilion, where they've had 10 national championships for a somewhat meaningless or mundane a good win, but, it's not going to vault them into Big Ten championship. And last night, with what Oregon did to Wisconsin, scoring the 55 points, they may have wanted to storm the court, but they didn't have enough people there to storm it. I mean, it was like ridiculously empty. I don't think they had 6,000 people in the building, counting the players and trainers. So what do you think we're going to see tonight? Let's say your buddy Fletcher Lawyer, brother of your buddy Foster Lawyer, hits a game-winning 3 at the buzzer. Do you think the fans will storm the court at Mackey Arena?
No, but I don't feel that confident to say that. It's a big time game. No matter how you slice it, dice it, shape it, mold it. Purdue's ranked higher than Michigan. I mean, I can't, and I don't anticipate that that's something that we'll see. But you know me, Jack, I'm all about the storming of the courts, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm all about it. If you don't want that happening, go do something about it.
Yeah.
Don't lose the game, for crying out loud. And I even sent you a text message after a court storming earlier in the year, and I asked you, when is the last time that Michigan State has stormed the court on someone at the Breslin Center? And so, I love it. It's what makes this time of the year what it is, partially, and the joy and the fall in love with college basketball. And it's one of the for some people who kind of gotten away from it because of NIL and transfers and conference realignment, everything else. That's kind of one of the last little things that we kind of hold on to that people tend to forget about, that makes college basketball. So I don't think that'll happen tonight. But Michigan State has a chance to do something about it to make sure it doesn't.
Oh, what's your score prediction tonight?
I hate these, Jack.
Yeah, that's why I give it to you.
I hate it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Let's go with 78. 78-63 Purdue.
15 points. Okay. All right, you've got them covering the 7.5-point spread that we just said might be a little high. Okay, so I know where you are on this now. A couple of things here for you before we switch to pro basketball. The Michigan-Duke game, Saturday night, and surprised me that Duke had a 13-rebound advantage, 10 more points in the paint. Didn't surprise me that Duke won. Maybe mildly surprised, but it surprised me the way they won. If these teams meet again in the Final Four, does Duke have an advantage?
I mean, they do in the sense that they know what it takes to beat that team. Other than that, I'm not sure how much more of an advantage. Everybody was healthy. Everybody played. More experience. I think in some ways, I guess maybe a little bit of an advantage because of the backup point guard play. I think Caden Boozer is very slowly, by the way, starting to show that he can come in and contribute and bring some production off the bench to this team and know how to kind of somewhat run it to a degree. Not all the way where they need to be, because I think that is kind of the Achilles heel of this team.
Caden Boozer, Cameron's twin, right?
Correct. Little Boozer.
Yeah.
When he doesn't necessarily, when in positions where Caleb Foster doesn't always show up unless they're playing Michigan State, of course. He always does. But other than that, and it doesn't help for Michigan very much either, because Elliot Cadeau, if you're going to sit back and watch, Duke knows all about Elliot Cadeau from his time in North Carolina. I mean,
right. Good point.
He can't shoot a lick. So I think that both of those teams actually, that is kind of a little bit of the Achilles heel or a red check mark on both of those teams going into March.
Good point. I hadn't thought about the Duke Cadeau connection from his days in Chapel Hill. I want to talk for just a minute, and this is kind of a bridge to NBA talk, about the first pick in the draft. And I see teams that are trying very hard to lose to get it. No guarantee because of the lottery, but still, the more chances you have, the more balls you have in the hopper, the better off it is. You have a choice. And I know you like Darren Peterson. You like him better than I do. I'm not betting on head cases with the 1-1. Cameron Boozer, we talked about him, and what a mature all-around player with the passing ability that he has. A.J. DeBonsis, you can't watch BYU without being wowed by him, and he has a complete game. And I went so far the other day as to say he is as close as I have seen at this age to Kobe Bryant.
Wow.
Yeah, but remember, Kobe wasn't a 1-1 either. He was picked later in the draft and then was traded for one of Jerry West's great steals from Memphis. And the fourth name, which is really starting to get a lot of traction here, is Keaton Wagler as a 6'6.5" guard who can stroke it and can get to the basket and has size to defend anybody, can switch. Rank those four guys 1 through 4 as NBA prospects for your team.
I mean, I feel like it's very much a 1A and 1B between Peterson and DeBonsta, between both of those guys. But I definitely put Boozer in there at number 3. I think he's going to have the longest in terms of longevity. I mean, he's his dad's kid all the way through, as far as an NBA career. And then I would put, Wagler in there. But, kind of going back to the conversation a little bit is, that number 4 spot, 4 and 5 on out. Yeah. We've seen so many different names. I mean, Darius Acuff is making his name into the conversation. The Houston point guard is making his way. Caleb Wilson's making his way. So I think it is a little bit of a revolving door after the top 3.
Do you like Cameron Boozer better than you did Paolo Banchero as an NBA prospect? He was a 1-1.
No. No, I don't. But it is very close.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I do, but it is very close.
All right. Let's talk about the NBA and the Detroit Pistons. And they got Wembied on Monday night. And then last night, it wasn't really a fair fight because when you don't have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning MVP, they had other people who it wasn't the Thunder that we're likely to see in the NBA Finals, but the Pistons were dominant. Motorcade and JD both had 29 points. Jalen Duren still, it's amazing to me, Sean, that he will begin his 5th NBA season next October, 5th season at age 22. Michigan State has guys like Trey Fort, and they're way older than that. So what Duren has done, and it was a process. People expected him to come in and be Karl Malone, and that wasn't going to happen. But now he looks like he's going to be really good for a really long time. And Cunningham is young too. Some of the other moves they have made, what they have with J.B. Bickerstaff, who seems to know what buttons to push, they were kind of playing around the other night, and Bickerstaff called timeout early in the third quarter and lit into them in a way that I have not seen him do before, and immediately got their attention, and then they dominated the rest of the game. Looks like Trajan Langdon knows personnel. Would you be surprised if the Pistons were not in the NBA Finals?
Surprised? No. But I'm also a guy that it takes a lot to actually surprise.
Yeah.
I think that I could understand why it would be surprising to other people for sure. Mm-hmm. And, this is, Jalen Duren, just talking about him for a second, he's been this way probably since the 8th grade.
Yeah.
And we talk so much about players that don't improve or don't develop their game and this and that. Some guys, I just need you to be good at the things you're already good at because that's enough for me. And slowly work on and improve or perfect or, your craft and everything else in the process. And that's just who Jalen Duren is from his time coming out of high school all the way up through his time at Memphis and now in the NBA. Thank you, New York Knicks, by the way. It's a team that, it's embraced the culture and everything of the city, the grit and the physicality. And I think that's the different element that you have to approach, not just saying, okay, we're better than this team and we know it and we can go out and show it and everything else. You got to be prepared to bring your first aid kit and your ice baths and all that kind of stuff on the road with you, or have it ready for you at home when you're playing against the Detroit Pistons, whether that's for one game or up to 7 in the series. So they've got their work still cut out. Mm-hmm. They've got some good games coming up. We talk about, playing the Thunder and the Spurs, but they've got Cleveland coming up in 2 of the next 3 games. And obviously you've got, San Antonio again after that to maybe get a little bit of get back. So it should be fun. Still a little bit of basketball left to be played in the NBA, but I like what the Detroit Pistons are doing from a consistency standpoint, because they've been at the top of the East and for the most part the league ever since the season started. And I think that there's just not nearly enough talk about that, but people won't.
I have been on record, in fact, going back to October, and I don't get a lot of these right, but I've said that the Pistons were going to win the NBA Eastern Conference and lose in the finals. Who are they going to meet in the finals if they get to the race for the Eastern Championship? Who will they play? You like Boston? Do you like New York, Cleveland? Who else?
I think we talked about this a little bit last week, and I think you had a fantastic point when you were talking about Cleveland.
Yeah.
I think it will be between Cleveland and New York. I'm still kind of holding on to New York a little bit.
Yeah.
But Jack's been working on me, so I'm slowly starting to transition into Cleveland, especially with the LeBron narrative and all that kind of stuff.
Rob is shaking his head. He's saying, no, you guys, you're sleeping on the Celtics again.
Just drop New York, for God. That's all I asked, Sean. For God's sake, just drop New York.
And I'm a show me guy. That's just something that has to happen.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been sitting here waiting on NC State all season long, Jack, as my surprise team this year, and I haven't seen them show up yet. So,
well, they've surprised me with a couple of their scores, but that's not what you're talking about.
And they were on the wrong side of that too, but no, and I want to make sure I mention this too. I remember this going all the way back to the beginning of the season when they were doing, starting the season off with the Detroit Pistons at the beginning before any games were played, and the guys wanted to kind of do their shoot-arounds and their walkthroughs and everything else in these cool-looking cut-off hoodie, and everything like that. And Bickerstaff said, "We're not doing that. we're going to come out here and play and practice in real Detroit Pistons practice uniforms. Now, if you guys want to play the cool game, the season starts, you guys give me a reason that you should be able to do that, and then we'll have some conversations about it. And they've done that. And I like the way that Bickerstaff set the standard or set the tone at the very beginning of the season. And sometimes I know in the NBA, with it being a players' league, and a lot of times coaches tend to kind of dance around personalities and let the guys kind of do what they want to do. It was no nonsense. And we don't have that nearly as much, but I think that there's definitely still a place for that type of mentality and approach when it comes to not just basketball or the NBA, but just sports in general.
All right. The only thing I will tell you before we go about Purdue tonight is that you could always walk by the Purdue bench and motion for Matt Painter's attention and just whisper the words, Florida Gulf Coast.
Oh, wow. Yeah. How about Fairleigh Dickinson? We were front row at that one. I think there's a couple other ones we could sprinkle in there from time to time, too, Jack.
Fairleigh Dickinson. We saw that, right? Yeah. You could Fairleigh Dickinson and UMBC, right? They're the teams that have done it, pulled it off. So, yeah, the Fairleigh Dickinson game, you and I were together in Columbus for that one. And, some people at Purdue, you still mention Fairleigh Dickinson, and they start to get delirium tremors. So, Deshaun, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the game tonight, and we will talk with you next week.
Will do. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Boston Rob.
All right. I want to thank all of our guests today, Rob, starting with Tony Garcia from the Detroit Free Press, now in the New Orleans Bureau. He is there getting a couple of days of R&R before Michigan gets back at it. They have a chance to lock up the outright Big Ten championship tomorrow night in Champaign. How about Rod Barmack from the Final Four is not on the schedule? Terrific podcast for Michigan State fans, and you can hear him wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can listen to the Jack and Tom basketball podcast after the game, and the Final Four is not on the schedule. Double dip. You can do that tonight if you want to celebrate or commiserate, drown in your sorrows. Also, want to thank Don Fisher, the voice of Indiana football and basketball, Nick Kelly from the Izzone, and Deshaun Tate. Have a great night, everyone. See you tomorrow.